Welcome to the fourth episode of Beyond the Glass. This is our second episode here at Lockdown. I'm joined once again live from Australia with MC extraordinaire Jenny Duncalf, former world number two. Jenny, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing all right, thank you, Joey. Things are not too bad down under. Restrictions are being eased a little, and there's definitely some light at the end of the tunnel. So pretty good from down here.
Yeah, that's great news, Jen. And have you taken up any new hobbies since we last talked a couple of weeks ago? Any more team sports?
I haven't. No, I'm more of a professional picnicker these days. I've been concentrating on my picnic game and bought some accessories for that. Yeah, my exercise last couple of days has gone out the window slightly, but my football training, by all accounts, may be able to start again with groups of 10 being allowed to meet outdoors. So we shall see. How about you, Joey? How's the quad coming along?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I'm as my little boy. I taught him to cycle now, so he's fully giving it Lance Armstrong and all the rest of it. So I was kind of scuttling by him. Now I'm nearly full-fledged running, so I'm probably looking forward to tearing a hamstring or something as he starts to cycle away from me. But yeah, no, I mean, hopefully things will start to move and we get a bit more of a plan. I mean, we'll be talking about this probably for the next couple of weeks as we go, but everyone's safe, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing. But last week, Jen, we were talking about obviously your retirement, but one of your contemporaries, one of your main rivals, the main rival for you really, Nicole David. She also retired a year ago, and we managed to catch up with Nicole with our inside reporter Nathan Clark.
So, Nicole, 6 weeks into lockdown, how have things been for you? How's life been? What's life like?
Well, life has been good actually. The 6 weeks has given me a chance to stay put in one place because it's been such a journey for me just moving around this last year and doing a lot of things in Malaysia as well. But being now I'm in Colombia in Bogota, and it's been good. I have some time to really settle in, do my workouts in my home workouts at home, getting on some Spanish classes, trying to get better with my Spanish online, and just keeping busy.
It's been almost exactly a year since you retired from the sport. How has that transition been? Has it been a strange year? How have you kind of dealt with that?
Well, it's been the best year, to be honest. I completely enjoyed my time after retirement. I knew it was the best time to retire when I made the decision, and when I came out of it, I was the happiest. Not having to be running around the squash court or thinking about training so hard to make sure that I'm fit enough to compete with the rest of the pack. So it's been great for my mind to be free from that. But at the same time, I'm still loving watching squash on watching everyone running around in their own part.
Has there been a part of you that's missed that competitive edge at all?
No, not at all. I really do not miss that. I mean, I do miss the tour, the players, and hanging out with them and seeing everybody and the familiar faces, and it's always very fun. But what I don't miss being on that court, especially when you watch those big matches and the big tournaments, all of them are like killing each other on court, and I'm going up. I'm sitting behind my computer, going, I'm so glad I'm not in that court, trying to run around and suffer all each point. I've done that 20 years, and I think I'm happy that I can just watch it from the outside.
A few weeks ago, we did a bit of a poll on the PSA for the rallies of the decade, and you actually came out on top. I think it was Kimi Serm you were punishing in that one particular rally. What did you make of the kind of poll, and what did it mean to be voted as one of the best sort of rallies in the last 10 years of Squash TV?
It was really a surprise. I saw all the rallies actually when PSA posted it up, and I thought, okay, like I'm in there with the mix. I'm just happy to be amongst the group that came out with with really good rallies. So I just thought, no, there's no chance. But when I actually came up on top, and it was a rally with Camille, and I was quite amazed with the fact that I was voted the best rally with Camille, and Camille actually had 5 best rallies in that top 10. So I'm glad that I was with her in that rally. But it was the British Open, and yeah, I was playing pretty good with her to beat her. But it brought back good memories, and I like to thank all those that voted for me to be the best rally of the decade, because I never expected it in a million years. I do cherish all those moments, and I think and PSA helps me to remind me of some of the old footage that they have put together. And I think there was one in the Cayman Islands where I did a dive with Natalie Grinham, and I couldn't remember that video, and I didn't know where it came from, but I realized PSA had it, Squash TV had it for the longest time, and it was quite good memories to know that I actually did a dive, and Steve Lyon took that photo, and he was so proud that he had my first dive on picture.
Well, I mean, obviously, Nicole, you had a long career with lots of success, but the players at the moment are going through probably the most unique scenario that any sports person has gone through. Have you been keeping in touch with any of your sort of old rivals and friends on tour? Have you been speaking to them during the last month or so to kind of find out how they're getting on?
Yeah, some players I've been keeping in touch, and also watching them on Instagram, seeing what they're up to, and they're all keeping very positive and doing their own training, having moments of fun as well to just keep themselves entertained. It is a very strange scenario that everyone's going through, not just athletes, but everybody around the world. It's just finding ways to do something that is positive. And I think our squash players are really doing a good job to keep positive, keep active, and keeping to their training program. Even without the squash court, they are finding good ways to keep fit, and I think that's what athletes do. They find a way a way to come out of something that maybe it's a tough situation. They come out much stronger because it's a challenge for them to push themselves and see how they can get through. But I do feel for them, because if I was in their situation, having to prepare for tournaments that you're unsure of, or the tour that you're not fully aware of what's going to happen, it is difficult, and I feel for them. But I know for a fact they are all working towards the tour. When it all starts again, they are all ready to be fired and ready to go for anything that comes their way.
Nice to see Nicole smiling as ever. She's flashing those very pearly white teeth and looking very animated, Jen. She's a busy bee at the moment. I always expected her after her career to go on and do lots of different types of things, but also really push the game and look to promote the women's game particularly. So fantastic she's still doing that.
Absolutely, yeah. As you say, not surprising at all, because she was actually doing a lot of that throughout most of her career, which was one of many things that was so impressive about her, was that as driven as she was at her squash career, she was still building things and doing talks and being a huge ambassador for the game in terms of pushing for the Olympics, etc. So yeah, she's gone on to be extremely busy.
She's obviously always been so humble, and she was always fantastic in defeat and everything. But just going back to that rally of the decade that she got voted with Camille Serme, she was really surprised about that. She has got an amazing kind of humble, kind of relaxed demeanor when it comes to stuff like that. It was a pretty cool reaction from her.
Yeah, nice to see. I mean, it didn't really surprise. I don't think it would surprise many of her competitors that she'd feature in some of the rallies of the decade, given that she's pretty much the best ever retriever in the female game. So I've definitely seen a fair few rallies, and I do have a bone to pick with her, because the one she mentioned against Nat, because when I first watched the rallies of the decade, I was thinking, as amazing as those rallies were, I was thinking, pretty sure Nicole and Natalie Grinham stood out because she was so quick. She was the one person that could match Nicole for speed, arguably, and they had some ridiculous matches. And that dive that she spoke about, that was actually me who dug that out and found it. So I was glad that she enjoyed that one. I'm not sure Nat did, but yeah, fantastic squash player, and not surprising that she's featured in lots of the best rallies. But yeah, of course, humble as ever, as you'd imagine.
Did you ever beat her?
I did. Thanks, Jerry. Glad I did. Just I can count them on my 2 fingers. just the twice. Oh, it was a shocker. But yeah, I remember even now to this day when I'm emceeing, and I really don't enjoy reading out the head-to-heads when they're knocking up. I hate doing it because everyone's different. But when you're knocking up and you try not to hear anything, but you can sometimes hear the announcer. And I would always be introduced onto court against Nicole, just as you're, egging yourself on to do well. And they were like, head-to-head, 18-0 it was before I got a win against Nicole. So I was pretty chuffed to get my first one. But yeah, it was a couple of wins, but plenty of losses.
Well, going from one legend to another, a man that featured in many of the rallies of the decade and some of the greatest matches ever on the PSA World Tour, we've got a live interview and guest coming in. It's the French general, Gregory Gaultier. Well, Greg, fantastic to have you on here. You look like you've got the world's smallest clock in the background, but you're looking smiley and hairy. It's good to see you, mate. You all right?
Yeah, all good. Thanks a lot. Nice to see you.
It's great to see you. Yeah. So Greg, you've obviously been working, keeping yourself in good shape, I presume, and everything else. But you've had some good news. Is the squash club, they reopened in Czech this week now?
Yeah, they reopened on Monday. Fitness clubs opened maybe 2 weeks ago, so we managed to go to do some fitness, like in a group, and of course there's the rules now. You have to disinfect everything. Let's say if I use like a disc or a bar, if I want to do some squats or whatever, after each use you need to disinfect. So yeah, we have to really be careful of what we're doing now. In my squash club at the moment, there's no chairs, there's no in the lockers, we can't use the lockers. We just can play squash, and once we're outside the court we have to wear a mask. Inside it's okay, and we're supposed not to wipe our hands on the glass or the walls. So
you look like you're quite lean as well. You've obviously not been eating too many chocolate pancakes, but have you been doing a lot of home training and stuff? Loads of circuits?
Yes, I did a lot of home training. I trained with some guys on Zoom. I managed to go outside and do cycling. I was allowed to go outside for cycling or running, and I have a little gym at home, so I could do a workout every single day. And it's been 2-3 weeks we're allowed to go to some parks, so walk in the parks or do some training. I do some training with the guys who stayed here. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for 2 months, and now for a nice change we are allowed to hit some balls, so which is quite cool.
Yeah, I bet.
And how are you hitting them, Greg?
No, my hitting doesn't change. I can stop for 6 months.
Never lose it.
No, actually, I hit the same as 2 months ago. It's just at the beginning, we're just working on technique. Really, we don't want to rush and like start to run around like crazy, because it's a big risk of getting injured. So we work like basic stuff, like one step away, you put the ball, and just pure technique. We don't want to. From the first week, we don't want to bring like a lot of change of direction stuff, and because all these rotation things can be tricky. So we do like simple drills that where we actually know where the ball goes. We don't want to put like random things that can be can cause troubles. So.
And you, more than everyone else, Greg, obviously you've only just made your comeback, pretty much, world teams, and then TOC, Windy City, and then this comes along. How's your kind of mindset? Are you over the frustration of this hitting? You just have to get on with it day to day, getting ready again?
Yeah, actually, at the beginning, it was like a big shock, I mean, for everybody. But for me, it was even, I fought tougher because after more than a year of waiting and suffering from all these injuries and thinking if I'm going to come back or not come back, I was so keen to go back on tour and play and see all those people again, meet my friends again and live this kind of moments I couldn't live for a year. So yeah, to be back to where I was like a few months ago, like it was kind of frustrating at the beginning, but then you need to move on. If you live in frustrations, then what do? You wake up every morning and you keep blaming this and that. So I just used those months those weeks and those 2 months, I would say, that to refocus on gaining strength, because I jumped back on the tour and I was far from being 100%, and I don't know if I'll be again 100%. It's going to be tough with my knees condition.
Speaking of targets, Greg, when you did come back the last time, did you have a target or a goal or anything like that, or would it be the same for the next time we come back?
It was tough, it was very difficult because even beginning of November, I was not even capable of playing squash at all. So my main target was to play and make the national team for the world teams, and I was happy to be selected and to be capable of playing. I knew I was my level wouldn't be great, and my movement was very restricted, so it was kind of tough, but my goal was to play and make the team, and I managed to do okay, and then from there I wanted to build up and be better week after week, and I managed to play okay in TOC, and then I took the tough part was to decide which tournament to play, because at the beginning I had to enter tournaments in November because we have closing dates, which stops like a month to 2 months before the tournaments. And in November, I had no clue if I could play in January, for example. So I had to enter. I entered, for example, New York, and then there was a couple of tournaments, but I didn't know if I should enter New York and then either play back-to-back tournaments, or it would be too risky for my health, for my knee. How I would recover. That's why I took a gap of five weeks between TOC and Chicago. But then, if I would have known, in TOC I would have been in that shape, then I would have played more tournaments.
Greg, I was just going to ask you, the PSA obviously are pumping out loads and loads of content, and there's some really great stuff. We're obviously going through all the archives of Squash TV back to kind of when we started 2010. But what do you think about coming out on top with the Rally of the Decade for the TOC when you were playing Ramy Ashour, that unbelievable rally? I mean, I screamed the chandeliers down. How did that feel for you? Was that quite a cool thing?
Yeah, it's nice, but I lost the rally, so.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, but actually, it was of course, it's nice to be part of it, and I remember it was like in the fourth game, and I was slightly, more than slightly tired, and in that point, I anticipated twice, and in the last one, I could see he was gonna kind of play from his position like a foreign drive. So I went there and I wanted to smash it as hard as possible, and he managed to I don't know, like to get his wrist, as solid enough to keep the ball. Anyone else, the ball would have like broke their strings. But it was quite impressive, the speed, his reaction, and what he could do with the ball,
Yeah, of course. Well, Greg, fantastic catching up with you, matey. And pleased to see you smiling, and good news you're back on court and your family's all safe and well. And I'm sure we'll be hearing from you a bit further down the road, but keep in touch and best of luck with everything. Stay fit.
Thanks, guys, and I wish you the best as well. Huh? And how much weight do you have in your back? Is it just for decoration or?
No,
Decoration.
they're made of polystyrene.
Well, fantastic to hear from Greg there in Prague. Great to see he's back on court, but so tough on him, Joey, compared to the other players, as we mentioned, speaking to him, having been out for so long, chomping at the bit to make his comeback, and then coronavirus hits. But still, as ever, at 37 years of age now, 2 operations later, he's in good spirits and training hard every day. He's a bit of a maniac, isn't he, as you always say?
Yeah, I mean, he's, when he had his comeback, it was the most anticipated bit of news in squash for such a long period of time, because he's been such an icon, such a legend, and what he's doing at his age is just extraordinary. And just talking to him then, you can see that, there are certain people that have that kind of light in the eye, that cheekiness in the eye, the light in the eye, and he's still wanting to get stuck in. I actually feel, I was talking about it a little bit with my dad, I actually feel that, and we touched upon it, that this extra bit of time to stabilize his body, strengthen his knee, get things a bit better, a bit more in sync, is actually going to do him a big favor for this last phase of his career once things start up again after this kind of long break. He's
just unbelievable, his hitting though. I've never seen him have a off day with his hitting, really. He's just never rusty at all, and always so, and if I was him, I'd be confident as well. But I wonder sometimes how, he must be so confident, obviously, coming back at 37, having had operations. I know when I had my operation, I generally didn't believe I could get to the very best, which made it very hard to be motivated. But he, I think, does genuinely believe he can get back to the top, maybe, or top 3 or 4. He's always had that belief and confidence, hasn't he, in his ability against most of the other guys.
I mean, this could work in his favour massively. Those guys at the top end that were pressing along and getting a lot of momentum with playing while he was injured, and the ones that were improving, I mean, they could end up, maybe not capitalising on this scenario and going slightly backwards, which would really, really fall into the French general's hands. So, I mean, I think the scene is set quite nicely for him when he does get back into this. He'll be, as he said, he'll be so well planned and so professional with everything that he'll be doing, and fanatical, which he is. I'm really excited. I think that it will be a better comeback for him. Gregory Gaultier was a bit late into social media. It wasn't really one of his primary focuses. It was more about winning major titles and beating his contemporaries on the PSA World Tour. But one real character who's made social media his own, particularly in this last phase, is a young man from the north of England living in British Virgin Islands. It's Adam Murrells. Adam, great to have you on. You've got I love the nicknames. You've been given the nickname Messi of squash. It'd be nice if you were possibly earning similar to Lionel Messi. That would be a bit of a result. But you've been a busy bee on the internet at the moment with your trick shot challenges and all the rest of it. It's been pretty hardcore for you, isn't it? The lockdown. You've literally been in your flat, haven't you, in the British Virgin Islands?
Yeah, so out here in the BVI, I think mainly because we're a small territory, we've got 30,000 people, and the medical facilities just wouldn't be able to cope if COVID kind of took hold. So they had to be really strict in terms of guidelines. So yeah, we had a full lockdown. So when people kept saying, "Oh, I'm in lockdown," in England, and they're going out exercising, I was like, "No, we're in like proper lockdown. You can't leave the house. If you leave the house, you get a big fine or you get taken to prison."
Wow.
So we had, so they're not messing around. And unfortunately, I live right next to a police station, so there was no night. But yes, we've been locked down for like 4 weeks, where we got told about it. We had to do like a massive shop to prepare So it's quite like I've never done a shop for more than 2 days in advance. So to try and prepare for was something a bit different.
You obviously went pretty bonkers on the shopping with toilet rolls, though, because you've been using those, incorporating those quite a lot into your trick shots, haven't you?
Yeah, I think my mum keeps seeing them and she keeps just saying, "Well, just don't waste them. I hope they're not damaged." So I'm well stocked when it comes to toilet roll.
I mean, obviously, this has enhanced everything for you, being at home, not being restricted to do stuff. You've always been, I've seen through your social media, you've always been putting stuff on before this kind of situation happened, but you've gone pretty bonkers. You've been releasing them pretty much every couple of days, haven't you?
Yeah. I've been trying to get one out every 2 or 3 days, and I guess stuck in lockdown, there's not a huge amount to do, and they genuinely. I think Daryl was on here saying, it's genuinely quite enjoyable doing them, quite cool trying to visualize, a concept and then having the patience and working on the skills to then get it done.
But to be honest though, are you a one-take wonder, or how many hours go into filming the footage?
Yeah, I may have stitched myself up there, but I always say one-take wonder, Jenny.
But you're obviously a bit of a handy footballer. What's your footballing background?
Nothing to shout home about, but just I love football. Played a lot when I was at school, but never. Cricket is my second sport. But yeah, just sport crazy. Come from a sporting family, and love a bit of football. And then realised I could do some kick-ups with the squash ball.
I know. I mean, obviously, I know you come from a sporting family because I played Yorkshire League in the same team as your brother. I'm not sure if he won any matches though, but he was always there, Nick. But I hope he's keeping well, mate. He's doing all right.
He is, yeah. He's keeping well. I think he's working with England Squash these days as well in a part-time role with them. But yeah, he's keeping well, and I'll tell him to check this out after that little shout out from you. I'm sure he'll be very happy that you broadcast that to the squash world.
Could I also apologise to him once again for thinking that he was your dad and not your brother at the Nationals? Sorry, I'm never going to live that down.
I was pretty down in the dumps. Not too down in the dumps. I'd actually played really well against Greg Lobban, lost 3-2. Having a chat with my brother or my dad, and so my brother next, and then Jenny walking along, and she's like, "Oh, well played," and Andy's looking at your kid play well then, and then Jenny was like, "Oh, I'm not sure I've met you before, but you must be Adam's dad," and my honest.
What's
It's 8 years. 8 years, so not enough whereby you're going to be calling him my dad.
I don't think you had a beard. It's your baby face looks, Adam. You're a long way from Manchester now in the lovely British Virgin Islands. Never been myself. Open to an invitation. Just throw that in there.
You're being very charming, Jenny, calling him babyface. I'm sure you'll get an invite.
Well, but you've been heavily affected through this COVID crisis because you run a couple of events there. Is that right? PSA events?
Yeah, that's right. So last year we actually, a BVI Men's Open's been going on for a few years, but last year we staged the first Women's PSA. And then this year we were going for our highest prize money ever event, so a Challenger 10. And just amazingly, honestly, the views here are just incredible. But half an hour away on a ferry, there's another island called Virgin Gorda, and they've just built 2 squash courts. So Joe Knight, who I'm sure you both know pretty well, he's running the facility there. So I just rang him when we were thinking about doing our Challenger 10 and said, would you be interested in popping one the week after so that we can provide the players with a little mini tour? Because it's quite expensive getting here for a one-off tournament. And given the prize money is not the biggest at the lower end, it's quite tough. But if we can give them 2 tournaments, it just makes the trip worthwhile. So yeah, I'm gutted because it was going to be 2 weeks of squash, 2 tournaments back to back. All the players were the same for both tournaments. and all you have to do between tournaments is hop on a ferry to go to another idyllic island, play another tournament. And we had like boat trips lined up as players' parties. So yeah, it would have been incredible.
It sounds amazing. Sorry, I'm just thinking of rejoining the PSA World Tour to get
Wild
stuff.
card, please.
Are you sure you don't want two announcers there? We'll come just for a package. That's fine.
We'll get you in as the commentary team.
Pardon?
We'll get you in as the commentary team.
Thank you very much. I'll hold you to that. We've got you now live, so that's recorded.
Great interview, this one.
But I just wanted to ask you another thing. You know, in your videos, there's quite the audio background. There's something that happens quite regularly on it, and I wanted to know if you've got a pet cockerel.
There's more than one, and honestly, so the time zone here is. So what time is it now? It's like 6:30 in the morning for me here.
Yeah.
And I set alarm for 5 a.m. And there was never any doubt I was not going to make the call because I was woken up at 4:30 by a bunch of them, always outside. They're always making a racket.
It was. I thought it might be a soundbite or something because every time you completed a challenge, there was a massive cock-a-doodle-doo, which it just quite tickled me. But no, it's all good. Apparently, you've got a trick shot specially prepared for us here on Beyond the Glass. Is this true?
All right, I'll give it a go.
Very, very serious face. Get your game.
Need a drum roll.
Massively. I've been nervous about this. Jenny, you're going to find out the answers to whether
I know. You should be nervous, Adam. Come on.
Oh! So you can't actually see that because of the camera, but that actually hit. That's the best one I've ever.
Very, very good.
Yeah, we definitely employ you for Squash TV with that imagination there. It's brilliant. Yeah.
That's impressive.
And particularly the time of the morning as well. 6:30 in the morning. You're looking quite fresh-faced.
Well,
been up since 4 with the cockerels.
I'll have to show you the view quickly. I'll have to show you.
Yes, please.
Go on then.
It'll make you very jealous. Oh, wow. Oh, absolutely amazing. Look at that. And you can't even jump in the water without getting arrested.
So we're out of lockdown now. But can I just confirm, have we got a commentary team for our PSA coming up, having seen this?
Oh, I mean...
Yes, I'm in.
I got married in the Caribbean. I got semi-good memories about the Caribbean. So, yeah, no, I'm booked. Put me in. Some really, really good fun chatting to you. Again, pleased that you're all healthy and safe and your brother is doing well. Keep them coming. They're great. All these trick shots and this kind of improvisation is great for the youngsters and the squash community. So keep them going and hopefully also try and involve a trick shot with one of those cockerels. You up in the. I don't want to kind of egg you on because you'll probably end up hitting a squash ball where you won't be able to get it back. But you know, no, it was fantastic. Really good fun, matey, and best of luck with everything. And hopefully you'll get those events back on the calendar when things are up and running. Take care. Jen, that was great fun. It was nice to chat. Obviously, we both know Adam from a long time ago, and fantastic that a young man like that's trying to get squash going in the BVI with these professional events and organising that, knowing what players want. And he's very astute and very sharp, and the sport needs a lot of that, particularly obviously with his entertainment factor as well, with all the skills.
Yeah, he's a clever lad, Adam. Great to see him out there. We might even get out there by the sounds of it. I'm glad we got him on for this episode. I'll remind him of that with a text or two in the next few weeks.
Well, I've really enjoyed this episode, Jen. I appreciate you staying up once again down under for the second episode of this during lockdown, 4th episode in total. Great fun, great variety today. I hope everyone watching has really, really enjoyed the show. We've enjoyed making it. And again, everyone out there, take care. We'll be back very, very soon in a couple of weeks for another episode. But stay safe, take care. See you soon.